Alright, so here's the analysis for Castform. So Castform is, now we're looking at Rainy Castform here. So it's not gonna be a normal type, I just use this as kind of a reference. If you look at its stats, because its stats are pretty much the same, it maxes out almost at 1500, so it's pretty close to 40. With that being said, all forms of Castform, they all use the same candy, and they, because of that, you don't really have to worry about like, oh, I have to get rid of Castform candy or anything like that. You just get regular Castform candy, or from all the types, and then you can power them up. So the Rainy Castform actually isn't weak to fight. Well, it's not weak to fighting. It's weak to grass. It's like it's very different. For example, let's see. Let's look at another Pokemon that's like very similar. So water type. Let's see, a pure water type. So a pure water type would basically show the same. So Squirtle's a pure water type, so I can go off the weakness and resistances off Squirtle. So Squirtle's only weak to electric and grass, and you resist to fire, ice, steel, and water. So electric and grass, those wild charge users, frenzy plant users, you would resist AWAC, you would resist things like Obama Snow, Powder Snow, etc. Flash Cannon wouldn't do a lot of damage to you, and then you would resist Water Gun, Hydro Cannons, etc. So this is Rainy Castform's weaknesses. Mono waters a really interesting type, but the problem with that is that grass and electric are kind of popular, especially grass in Go Battle League for Great League. It's really popular, and a good example would be Meganium. Shiftry is also one. I use Shiftry a lot. Shiftry, Meganium, you have Venusaur, and there's just Ferrothorn's another one. There's a lot of types that check Rainy Castform, but Rainy Castform has some good DPS. The reason why Castform is really good is because it carries Thunder, and it carries Water Gun and Thunder. Now I'm using this as a reference, like there's the typings, just because GoHub has a really good reference. But as you see, the max CP, the attack defense, it's really well balanced, and it's somewhat tanky. It maxes out like I said, near 1500. So it's somewhat tanky. It has Weather Ball and Thunder. Because of that moveset, it's a very versatile moveset that lets you check Azumarils, and you're able to do some heavy damage, especially against flyers too. So even though Rainy Castform isn't the greatest thing since Sliced Bread, it's still really good. So it costs 75,000 dust. That's what makes it kind of expensive. Not only that, you max out, like I said, at near level 40. So the highest level you're probably going to go to is level 35, which is pretty high. Because of that, plus 75,000 dust, it's pretty expensive to power up. That's the issue with Rainy Castform. In fact, it's really, yeah. Thankfully, you could probably catch it weather boosted and catch it at level 35, and hopefully it's already maxed out or near maxed out. So there's the benefit of it. So Rainy Castform is really good, mainly because of look at what it checks. It beats the Azu Stunfisk core, which is really huge. It beats Azu Stunfisk core. You also beat Starmie, Alola Marowak, and Bastiodon. That makes us, overall, Rainy Castform is actually pretty legit. Now, the problem with Rainy Castform, you're going to lose against Altaria, Umbreon, Deoxys Defense, Galvantula, and Obscure. Those are really popular Great League picks. But also, because of the fact that it checks the Azu Stunfisk core, it's really, really good. As you see, it rates 90% in the lead. Very good lead, and it's strong in all scenarios. In pretty much all of it. All positions, it's really strong. It's surprising just like how Rainy Castform. I saw this on one of the PV Pokes teams. I think it was on the number 2 team that had Galvantula and Rainy Castform. So it was very, very interesting. If you use that core, Galvantula actually checks Umbreon, Deoxys. So it checks a lot of weaknesses that Castform doesn't. And Castform Rainy is just really good for like even open formats, etc. Because like I said, it checks the Azu Stunfisk core. It's just really freaking good. And it's number 37 as the lead. belongs there. You see a lot of Aussies, you see a lot of Galarian stuff in the lead. You also see a lot of Skarmories. You can the Grass Hole with Bastiodon in the lead. It's these are very popular leads, and Rainy Castform definitely has some play against all of them. As a closer, Rainy Castform ranks at number 55. It's pretty much going to show you that he beats the same thing because it's just these are the strongest picks that of the meta that Rainy Castform beats. As a switch, it doesn't do half bad either. Number 44. Now, you're gonna lose to things like Shiftry, Galvantula, etc. So before you... I wouldn't switch in Rainy Castform. If you see, look at these ratings. They're really strong, so I wouldn't switch in Rainy Castform. I'd be really careful about using Castform as a switch. I would mostly use it as like a lead or a closer. I wouldn't really use it as a safe switch. I mean, you can, as you see here, but that's only if they switch it. It's kind of risky if you do it because the Obama Snow, Altaria, Galvantula, especially Galvantula has gotten more popular. So Galvantula and Shiftry, especially Shadow Victory Bell, if you use it as a safe switch and then they switch in Shadow Victory Bell, you're gonna have a really bad time. 9 times out of 10, that's probably not gonna happen. But you know, if it does, just you know, it's gonna suck. So Rainy Castform, I put it here. Here's the 2-shield scenario. I'm pretty much just going to analyze it. I'm not going to run it on any training sims or anything like that. We're just going to analyze it with the Matrix. I think that's good enough to just show how good Rainy Castform is. These videos really just analyze a bunch of random, potentially good, but mostly just random. So as far as effectiveness goes, Rainy Castform is an effective mon. So if you run the simulation, you see here, you don't want to run any other moveset, by the way. As you see here, you want Weather Ball. You can run Thunder Pump, Thunder and Hydro Pump, but in all honesty, Weather Ball Water does enough. It really does. It does. Water Ball, Water Ball, like, you want something that baits, and then you want a finishing move, which is why Thunder, Weather Ball, like, works. You can use Hydro Pump, but I wouldn't recommend it. Like, Thunder is just, Weather Ball and Thunder is fine. You don't need to use any other moveset. As you see in the 2-shield, you check Altaria, you also check Azumarill. You check Altaria in the 2-shield. Hold on, let's take a look at this. What the heck? Are you serious? This thing... Oh, is this bait dependent? Okay, so let's see. 2 damage, 3 energy. So you gain 3 energy, so... What if you just go straight Weather Ball? So it checks it in the 2-shield. Wow. Okay, so you can't go straight Weather Ball, but even then, if you bait both shields, you can actually they only live with only 22 HP. So it's not bad. You can actually play. You can farm down the Altaria, and it has to blow its energy at you. So even if you lose you'll win the 2-shield. Even if they don't call the bait, it looks like you can still win the 2s. Well, not win the 2s, but then you can let it die, and their energy dry. So then you can send something in to farm Altaria. So it's not that bad, and force your opponent to give a switch or something of that sort. So there's a lot of play with the 2 with Altaria. Azu is just really Azu. Everybody, well, yeah, it's Azu. It's freaking Azu, man. So you have to. So it looks like, let's see if we can bait both shields here. So Rainy Castform can beat Azu just going straight Thunder. So you don't need a bait, but obviously you just build up to a Thunder and then bait with Weather Ball, as usual. That's the play you always want to do. For Bastiodon, just kill Bastiodon. No one cares about Bastiodon. You even beat Deoxys defense. You don't win against Obama Snow, you win against Cresselia or Clefable, so you want to switch out if you see those. But Deoxys defense, it does really well against a lot of, like, relevant meta picks. Deoxys defense, you can beat Deoxys defense just going straight Weather Ball. That's pretty nuts. You also beat Dugong. I think this is bait dependent, though. I think you have to land a Thunder. If you don't land a Thunder, it's dangerous. Let's see. Yeah, you have to land 2 Thunders. So, wow. This Seal is so... This Seal's a freaking tank. Yeah, you have to basically bait both shields. I mean, you could go straight Thunder. Like, being down 14 isn't bad, but the end result is when you're doing like end sims like this, you always want to look how much energy the opponent has left. So 25 energy means it's not gonna take long before they get to another Icy Wind. So it's only gonna take you. So you can possibly kill the Dugong before it gets to another Icy Wind, but still 25 energy is kind of a stretch. So just be careful. So you'll beat Dugong in a 2-shield. You can go straight Thunder, and then you can actually break both shields, and then you can leave. You can farm the Dugong, and then save that energy for the back. You beat Frostless. You also beat Haunter. Shadow Hypno, Lapras. you don't. Let's see. You're gonna lose hard against grass type, so just be careful. You beat Mantine, AWAC. You beat so many things in the lead with 2 shields. It's pretty nuts just how good it is. You're gonna lose to some water types. You're gonna lose to low nitro. You're gonna lose to all the electric types. Looks like Scrafty just goes to town on you. Let's see why. Let's see exactly why. Why do you go down to 2 shield? Is it just you could just go? Okay, so even it looks like Scrafty could just go straight pup on you. So just be very careful if you see a Scrafty. It looks like you lose against fighters. I think it's just because counter generates so much energy versus water gun. You're also gonna lose against Swampert. I think it's because Swampert effectively just does. You need the Thunder to finish off some of most matchups. So just be aware of that. Also, Tropius is just gonna end your life, and just because it's neutral to water, it looks like a lot of counter users actually beat or Charmers beat Castform. So it looks like anything that resists it really hard or like it's weak against, for example, like we said, grass types or electric types, it doesn't look like it does very well. That's a 2 shields though. So in the 1 shield. Let's see. The 1 shield we get, you beat Ozzy, you still beat a lot of relevant picks. Let's see. You lose against Galvantula. Of course, you're gonna lose against Galvantula. You're gonna lose against Ferrothorn. You lose against Shadow Hypno. So in the 2s you beat Shadow Hypno, in the 1 shield you actually lose against it. I'm just guessing because the Thunder Punch damage. The standard moveset for Hypnos is pretty much Thunder Punch / another punch or Shadow Ball. So it's just gonna suck. You beat Lapras, you beat Mantine, you lose against Medicham, Meganium. It looks like you lose against counter users, and you also lose against things like Meganium. You're gonna lose against grass types, and you lose against electric types. So that's what kind of sucks. Let's see later. You beat Swampert in the 1s though. That's good to know. So you beat Swampert, you'll beat Galarian Stunfisk still. You'll beat both versions of Galarian Stunfisk actually. So the Galarian Stunfisk, the one that holds discharge, you actually survive against it, but how much? Okay, so 25 HP. That's not bad at all. And here's the 0 shield. So let's see. It looks like, let's see, the rest of the 1 shield. Let's see, you beat Wishcash, you beat Daddy Cash, you beat Wigglytuff, but you lose against everything else. Looks like Umbreon just is such a heavy wall against you. Just be careful against Umbreon. So in the 0 shield, we beat Azu still. We beat Bastiodon. The fact that it beats Azu in pretty much every scenario is just nuts, just because Azu is so popular. Let's see, you beat Process, you beat Haunter. Let's see, any notable matchups. You beat Shadow Champ. So Shadow Champ in the closer does lose against you. Looks like you could just go, okay, one Weather Ball and some change will eat the poor Shadow Champ to oblivion. So Shadow Champ needs shields against Rainy Castform. You beat Pelipper in the 0s. I'm guessing because Thunder eats it to oblivion. Yeah, I'm guessing because it's Thunder. So Thunder, you get yeeted. Yeah, so Thunder eats it. Thunder actually does plus 100% plus some change of damage on it. So just be very careful. You lose against Registeel. Is this because do you just get focus blasted to death? I think you just get blasted to death. Yeah, it could blast you to death and then it flash cannons. Yeah. You might be able to flip this with energy lead because you're left with like 30 energy. So if you have a little, let's say you have a little bit of energy, like let's say 16, can you flip this matchup? No, Registeel still wins, so just be careful. Yeah, Registeel, yeah, it's just Registeel. So in order to beat Registeel, you need to have a shield. So you need to be able to block. So, and then it looks like the water gun damage actually chunks it in the end. So you beat Scrafty in the 2. You beat Scrafty in the 0s as well. That's good to know because you don't except you live with like 6 HP, so this is kind of risky. Looks like it lands foul play and goes straight pup. What if it does it backwards? So what if you fire the low move? Well, it looks like if you do this backwards, you lose. Yeah. I don't know why it's gonna fire the foul play and then the power up punch. Because if they do this backwards, so let's see. Yeah, if you do this backwards. And then you do foul play. So if you do it backwards, update the sandbox. Looks like you still lose. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, so it looks like with the subsequent. Okay. Okay, so this is where Scrafty wins. So Scrafty actually wins the 0 shield. That's where I thought. Because all they have to do, what they do is they just go pup. They go pup, and then they go foul play, and then you lose. So you actually need to use a shield. You actually need a shield to beat Scrafty. Because you just, yeah, you need a shield to beat Scrafty. So you actually lose the 0s. And everything else is pretty standard. You still lose against what you're weak against. You'll still lose against Air/Tropius even if it's not carrying Razor Leaf. You lose against you lose against Vigoroth, you lose against Pseudo Fighters, you lose against Victory Bell. And let's see if you're up a shield. Okay. And you lose this Wireless just because of Drag. Okay, so here's what's interesting. What if you have a shield? Does that flip any notable matchups? You beat Driplim. Let's see. You beat Driplim being up a shield. You beat. It looks like you beat Fighters more convincingly now. You still lose against Hypno. I'm guessing it's just because. I'm guessing it's because of the Thunder Punch just does too much damage. Yeah, they could just straight Thunder Punch you. It looks like the Thunder Punch does take, and the confusion damage chunks enough to like it beats you. So you need to be up. Yeah, I think you need it. Well, if you're up a shield. Oh, it's the 2-to-1. So you'll win the 2-to-1s. It looks like you need a shield. So you need a shield to beat it. And you beat AWAC, you beat Metacham, so this is where you start flipping fighter matchups. You'll beat Metacham, you'll still lose against. It looks like the matchup you lose against is still Grass type, so Grass types will still beat you. Other than that, you start winning. You win against Pseudo Fighters now. So you against fighters like Scrafty and Pseudo Fighters, it looks like you win now, and you have stronger matchups. Without it, you need a shield to beat. You need a shield to beat most fighters. It looks like it, or even Pseudo Fighters. So it looks like you need a shield or two to beat most Pseudo Fighters. So that's good to know in Rainy Castform. Because if you do happen to know that there's a fighter in the back, then you know, unless it's Shadow Champ, you can't take out the fighter. Up 2 shields, it looks like you still lose again. You beat everything but Grass type, so it looks like Grass types just wall you too hard. Except in this scenario, it looks like being up 2 shields, you beat everything but it's like hard wall. So you don't beat Obama Snow, you don't beat Meganium, you don't beat Shiftry or Tropius or Shadow Victory Bell. So just keep that in mind in all scenarios. As long as it resists the Weather Ball, or as long as it's like a Grass type and it does resist those water guns, then it has a chance to beat. Then it does well. So in summary, Rainy Castform is really, really good, but as you see here, you need shields to take out fighters. As you see here, so if you look at, you need shields to take out fighters, or with the exception of Shadow Champ. So here's shields. Here's the 2 shield scenario. Now if we take out if we go to the zeros, you lose, except against Shadow Champ. So keep that in mind. You lose hard against pretty much everything grass related. So if it does resist you, say like if it's with 2 shields, you can beat electric types. So you can beat Galvantula, you can beat Alola, you can also beat Galvantula, but grass types do really, yeah, you don't really stand much of a prayer against grass types. Grass types do in fact wall you and beat you really hard. So as long as you keep, it looks like as long as you keep Rainy Castform away from grass types, you're fine. If I had to give Rainy Castform a rating, it would probably be like a 7 out of 10. The reason I'm giving Rainy Castform a kind of a 7 out of 10, yes, it's really good. However, the problem is you get checked by grass types. And the problem is, it looks like with the huge problem I see with Rainy Castform, is that if you get like, if you get locked into a grass type, it becomes essentially dead weight, especially against Grass Hole, because Grass Hole users can chunk you. Yeah, you don't stand a chance against Grass Hole. But that's if you get locked into Grass Hole lineup, but then again, Grass Hole pretty much operates like Azu. In this scenario, it looks like Azu would be better than Castform because it can actually get to the Ice Beam and threaten with shields. But the reason I'm giving it 7 out of 10 is just because it can get hard walled. So it can get hard walled even if it's up shield. So there is a hard counter to it. Other than that, it does really good against everything else. Yeah, especially up a shield, it has a lot of play, does a ton of damage, and it beats the Azu Stumpus core. So it's very, very relevant in the meta. And it's really good. So that's why it's a 7 out of 10. It beats a lot of the meta, generates energy quickly, can bait shields and threatens, and up shields can actually beat a majority of things. The only reason it's not higher than a 7 out of 10 is because it does rank at 40 for a reason. There's a lot of things that check Rainy Castform, and anything that loses to Razor like Grass Hole users, it's really dangerous to play. But I'm not saying it's dangerous. As long as you keep it away from the grass types, it looks like Castform can come and wreck shop. So that's the video that's the video, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. These are really fun. I like doing random analysis matchups, like for Rainy Castform. If you want me to analyze anything else that's not like BBML, just comment below and I'll go and take a look at it. We'll do the same thing. We'll look at its typings, we'll run a matrix, and you guys have a wonderful day. I can't wait to see what you guys have in store, what you guys want me to take a look at. But definitely 7 out of 10. If it wasn't walled against grassful users, I would totally use it, like I said. Again, you guys have a great day, and I will see you on the next video.